Today's lesson is the fear of change. So I'm going to tell you about my personal fears that I had to overcome, some of the personal fears that I'm still overcoming now as I speak. But I'll tell you about the fears that I did overcome. I'll try and do my best I can to explain it to you how I did that, and I'll just go into the psychology, the rationalizations, the contradictions, the insecurities, the whys, this, that, the excuses. As you know, I was frightened of people, absolutely petrified of human beings because of social anxiety disorder, because growing up being frightened of my dad because he was abusive, he was aggressive, and I felt so frightened and petrified of his presence I couldn't speak, I couldn't be myself. So this experience with my dad, I developed nervousness and anxiety around people. So every single social situation made me feel uncomfortable. It was only years later when I overcome my anxiety and I built my confidence and I changed my identity, I was able to realise actually how scared I was. I knew I was scared at the time of being scared, but it's only when I changed I realised. So I'm not going to be exactly factual about my age, but I'll say to you, from about my early 20s, I really felt from my heart that I could do something amazing in my life. But I always had this voice, I always had lots of contradictory voices and feelings. So I always felt I could do something amazing, but it would always be followed by many voices and a story in my past. The story also included my family, friends around me, things that happened to me at school in the past. Always be followed by a story that I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough, and it's almost unrealistic. I'm unrealistic to even think that I can be happy and achieve things in life. And the two or three things that are really important to me, and they all coincided with the same thing, which is love, connection, or self-love, or God, or that feeling of completion, was making money, having a good financial life, and finding an attractive girlfriend. Those are the two things that I wanted to nail, but these are the two areas where I really struggled because of my issues with social anxiety disorder, and then what came from that, depression and anxiety. And I remember thinking, I don't like who I am. I don't like myself. I don't like the way I respond to people. I don't like the way people treat me. I don't like the way I treat people. I just don't like myself. I don't like being me. I don't enjoy being in my body. But it was weird, as I said, because there was a part of me that liked me, and I knew that I could achieve. But growing up, and I'll be honest, I was a bit of a mummy's boy because of being bullied and being overly sensitive, and I couldn't deal with responsibility. And my mum actually said that, and that created a voice in my head. My mum used to say to me, the problem with you, Jonathan, is you don't like responsibility. You just don't like it, you can't handle things. So it was right what she said, but that sort of criticism, that damaged me more. But my mum was right at the time. So a letter comes through the post. My mum says, there's a letter down here with your name on it. Panic attack, start getting nervous, my heart starts beating fast. First thing I say is, Mum, can you open it, can you check? I get really angry, really upset. That was my pain body when I was a kid. That was me saying, I just can't deal with things. And that all contributed to the abuse from my dad, which created social anxiety, which created this fear of rejection, abandonment, and confrontation. So it starts off as small as, I can't open a letter that's got my name on it. Next one is, you need to go to the dentist. Mum would say, your tooth's bad, you need to go and see the dentist. Terrified I can't do it, I'm scared of the dentist, can't deal with it. Frightened that I might die in the dentist, it's going to hurt, they might give me an injection, sets panic off, can't deal with it. I get into an argument with my mum, I can't go. or it has to get to a point where I'm in agony and I've got to force myself to go, and I'm petrified of the dentist, like sweating, feel like I'm going to die, I can't handle it. So frightened of opening letters, frightened of the dentist. And then it comes on to things like phone calls. My mum would say, someone called at the house today, he left a message and he asked you to call him back. I think it's someone from the careers advice or the job centre. Terrified, can't do it, don't want to get on the phone, embarrassed of my voice, can't speak. The thought of going on the phone stresses me out, actually makes me enraged with anger. I get into an argument with my mum because I can't face this fear of responsibility. Tidying the bedroom, cleanliness. I know that I should tidy the bedroom. It doesn't make me feel good to see crisp packets and plates with food and pants and socks and magazines and video games, but I can't deal with it. My mum gets angry, I get angry at my mum. Dysfunctional relationship, arguing, because I can't deal with the responsibility of tidying. Movement sets my nerves off, and it brings up the story. Then I don't feel good enough. It's really complex. It's really strange. So I just keep putting things off. I can't open letters from the bank. I can't go to the dentist. I can't get on the phone. I can't go to job interviews. I can't tidy my room. I can't face my dad. I can't look him in the eye. I can't look my mum in the eye. I can't face people. Sometimes I can do all this, contradictory to what I just said, but it's not consistent. Moving on to speaking to attractive women, or just girls that I liked in my everyday life growing up, in my area, my neighbourhood, my school, parties, gatherings. A girl looks at me, she's interested, I can't do it. Something more like, I cannot do it, I want to do it, but I can't do it. The responsibility is too overwhelming. What am I going to say to her? What if I freeze up? What if she sees I'm damaged, I'm embarrassed, I'm anxious? I'd rather not speak because I don't want her to have any impression of me. I don't want her to judge me. I'm terrified of being judged. So I'd rather stay silent. Because that way I play it safe, comfort zone. Can't deal with responsibility. I'm actually petrified that I actually will get her. What if I get her? What if she dumps me? It's got me everywhere. This guy is bullying me around my neighbourhood. He's bullying me all the time. He's giving me dirty looks. He's attacked me a few times. He's put a knife to me. He's humiliated me. I want to smash him up. I want to stand up to him because he's a bully. He's nasty. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with the responsibility because I know I can beat him. But if I beat him, now they're going to talk about me around my area. People are going to say, Jonathan did this, he beat this guy. I can't deal with it. I'm too shy. Shyness, embarrassment. I can't have people talking about me, looking at me. I can't deal with it. I've got to recluse. I've got to let him bully me, ignore it and walk on. And then I'm angry at myself. Story comes up. It's the same story. The bank letters, the dentist appointments, the social confrontation, getting on the phone, cleansingness, dealing with bullies. It's the same fear. It was a fear that was bullying me for years. And then I self-sabotage. I blame myself, hate myself. I say I'm a coward. I say I'm ugly, I'm unattractive. I can't even speak to a woman. I'm unintelligent. I can't even go on the phone and have a conversation with someone who's trying to find me a job. I can't even go to the dentist. What kind of man am I? Then I destroy myself with this story. There's something that I'm running from that I can't face. I don't know what it is, but this fear. And the feeling of not being good enough. And I think that my family look down on me and other people, everyone. So I can't trust anyone. I can't trust human beings. I always think they've got an agenda. They're trying to trick me. They're trying to set me up. They're trying to set me up for failure. I'm getting to my later 20s and I'm depressed. I want to kill myself. I want to get out. I've had enough. I'm so angry. I've got so much hate. I want to kill people for what I've experienced. And I want to kill myself as a way of getting everyone back. Victimization, but I'm full of hate. And I'm thinking, why am I going through this? I didn't ask for this. Deep down, I'm a good person. I know I can do things that normal people can do, but something won't let me move. I can't overcome this monster. I'm actually, and I'm also afraid to admit it. I'm afraid to admit, because I'm consciously, deep in the unconscious, I know where it comes from, but I'm too scared to say it out loud. I'll say it out loud now. It comes from my dad. I was frightened 10 years ago to actually say that out loud. I was actually frightened to say, the reason I'm frightened and I'm damaged and I can't speak to people, and I'm frightened of normal mundane things that most people wouldn't even bat an eyelid, is because of my dad. I'm frightened to actually verbalise that and to say that, to feel those emotions when I say that my dad has caused this, or he's contributed to most of it. And some of that's come from being bullied at school, but it all came from my dad. I got bullied at school because my dad bullied me, and that nervous energy that I had around my dad, I projected that when I went out into my social life, and it attracted bullies. And then soon enough I became a bully to protect myself from this type of abuse from other people, because it just felt like everywhere I went I was getting abuse from everyone. And this feeling of not being able to trust people, this was so stressful in conversations. So pretty much through the first part of my life, first 25 years, I'm 33 now, I hated life, couldn't enjoy it. And I was scared to go out, I was scared of the world, I was scared to go out in public. It felt stressful, so stressful to go into a supermarket. Like, even walking down the street would always be in my head, like this, stressed, calculating, analysing. I never really had even an hour, just an hour of peace where I could relax my body. I always thought someone's going to try and kill me. I was always waiting for this person to try and come out and kill me and attack me. Just the thought of people's facial expressions being angry at me, that I was frightened of facial expressions, because my dad would be angry when he used to shout at me, his face. So I couldn't look. That's one of the reasons why I couldn't look at people in the eye, because I was frightened that their face might change. And this was all unconsciously a fear of abandonment, a fear of rejection, all these complexities tied in, a fear of being successful, a fear of not being successful, a fear of being liked, a fear of being disliked, a fear of being judged, a fear of being ignored, a fear of being neglected. All these, carrying all this, and then being ashamed and being embarrassed for carrying this story and feeling this, and wanting to tell but not being able to tell it, because it's so, it's a classic victim story, but it's true. That's how I felt, and that's what happened at that time. And then being really angry and enraged, because I always was angry about the opinion that other people had about me. So my perception of other people's perception of me, that was probably the most enraging fear I had, because I was furious around the way that my mum and dad viewed me. Because my dad was very aggressive, but my mum was always very consoling, which is nice, but I couldn't deal with it. She was always pampering me, always trying to protect me because of the relationship with my dad, and I hated that, because it made me feel like a coward, it made me feel disabled, it made me feel disgusting, made me feel socially weird, all these things. So feelings, I couldn't deal with feelings. I hated feeling emotions. I hated feeling happy, because I felt happy. I got angry feeling happy. I thought I don't deserve to be happy. If I got sad, I got angry and I beat myself up being sad, because I considered it being weak. If I got depressed, I got angry, because depression, for me, I considered that as someone who can't deal with life. So everywhere it got me, I couldn't escape. And then sometimes I'd be really happy, really up there, supremely happy on a high, and just really happy and loving everyone, back down again. Same circle for years. And then thinking, why can't I make money? How comes everyone else can make money but I can't make money? Why is money bad for me but it's not bad for them? And people keep saying to me, money doesn't make you happy. Well, I was like, well, fucking hell, I don't have any money. So I need to make that decision for myself. I need to make money, and I'll find out if money doesn't make you happy or not. Because I don't have any money, or pretty much no money. I got sick and tired of seeing other guys doing well with women, but I couldn't do well. I don't know I could do well. That's what's so frustrating. If I could sort this monster out, if I could open the newsletters, the bank letters, go to the dentist, Be able to confront people socially, look my dad in the eye, look my mum in the eye, tidy my bedroom, love myself, be kinder to myself, make money, go to job interviews, be kind, trust people more. I could get the girl, I could make the money. Because it's not the money, it's not the girl. It wasn't the success. It was overcoming this monster, which came out to my father. So I had to face the story of my dad, the damage that he did to me created a story. The story was more frightening than my actual dad, because what he did, physical abuse, verbal abuse, it hurt me at the time, but then it ended, but the story didn't end. So I realised years later it was the story that terrified me, because my dad didn't know about social anxiety. He didn't purposely say, I'm going to bully my son because he's got social phobia. He didn't want that. Obviously he was a good man as well, but he's whatever issues he had, but the story was bullying me. And the story was personal because it was in my head talking away. It wasn't in other people's head, even though I felt like it was. I was projecting this bad story, this awful story of not being good enough, and frightened to be judged, frightened to be seen, frightened to be caught out, to be seen who I really am, which didn't really make any sense because at the time I didn't know who I was anyway. So to be caught out for who I truly am, it doesn't make sense because I didn't even know who I truly was anyway. So if anything, it would have been caught out for being about 35 people. So that's what was bullying me for years. And if I got a little bit of success, I would always be thinking, I'm betraying and lying to people because they don't know with the story what I deal with. Which of course doesn't make any logical sense, but that's how I felt. These contradictory, catch-22, abstract, not logical fears and stories and beliefs. Until I got to a stage, about 25 years of age, and it's happened at a few periods in my life where I said, enough is enough, that's it. Fuck it. Sorry my language. That is it, I've had enough. I'm willing to die. I'm going to die to face this. And that's what I did, I died. I had to delete and smash and kill my old self, my full self. That was terrifying because my full self was how my old friends see me, and how I see my old friends, how I see my area, the way I walked, the way I spoke, the music I listened to, the food I ate, my opinions about the world, my facial expressions, my voice tonality. I had to kill all of it. I had to kill that guy, get rid of him. I didn't like him because he was a false self. It wasn't me, it was a mask. And that guy was in the way of this guy. And this guy represents your best thing, what you represent, that you're looking for in this video. This guy represents responsibility. This guy represents opening the bank letters. This guy represents being socially relaxed. This guy represents being able to tell the girl that I like her, not worried about whatever happens. This guy represents being able to stand up for myself, stand up to my mum, stand up to my dad, stand up to people, respect myself, personal boundaries, love people, love myself, not feel ashamed, not be afraid to do public speaking anyway, not be afraid to do the job I want to do it anyway, enjoy it, not be afraid to make money anyway, not feel embarrassed, not apologise for it, not be afraid to be spiritual, not be afraid to say that I believe in God, not worry about what people think, if it bothers them, not try and seek approval from my mum or dad, not try to seek approval from people, seek approval from the self or from God. No need to be a victim anymore, no longer a victim, no blaming, no hating, no racism, no violence, finished with it. Because enough is enough. And that's why you're on my video for social anxiety, because this is what it entails, this is what you go through. And then when you do stand up to people, which is a representation of the story, which is really yourself, it never existed in the first place. That fucking never existed. It was an illusion, but it was so real. It was so real that you believed it, you invested in it, and you made it real. So if you can make an illusion real, you can dissolve an illusion, you can make a better illusion. You can make a good illusion about love, about excitement, about happiness, about truth, about whatever you want to achieve. But I had to suffer. I had to suffer tremendously. like Les Brown said, it's a great saying. He said, in order to achieve something you've never achieved, you have to become someone you've never been. So it's exactly what I went through that same truth. Every time I've had to achieve something that felt huge, I had to kill a self and grow a new self. When I first got into the day game, people laughed at me. When I first even started mentioning about teaching, I had a friend say, "You can't do that." He just started laughing. And I had a dead serious face like I've got now, because I knew I'd already done it before I started. I'd committed and I died to self, as St. Paul said, and I achieved it. Became globally successful in the dating industry and taught men all around the world how to meet women. That is death of an old self. That is taking responsibility. I take the responsibility of people judging me, talking about me, praising me, some liking me, some loving me, being globally successful. That is the power. That is the power of commitment, taking responsibility. After I've done that, I don't want to do this no more. I want to do something bigger. I want to be a spiritual teacher. I want to be working with social anxiety. I want to be a life coach. People, I'm not sure, doing it now. The responsibility, taking the responsibility. I want to do public speaking. People, really? Can you do that? Done hundreds of public talks. Can achieve anything you want. So my biggest fear was myself. My biggest fear was building a relationship with myself, taking responsibility, because that's what it takes. It takes having to accept responsibility for being successful, which takes courage, self-control, dedication, commitment, compassion, love, understanding, facing fears, being uncomfortable. Having to deal with other people's projected fears onto you, dealing with criticism, dealing with being judged, dealing with people being jealous, dealing with a lot of flattery, dealing with a lot of love from people, which is great. You have to accept all this. Emotional pain, emotional joy. Are you willing to do that? I knew it. I knew when I was younger I could do it. Even when I was anxious, when I was being abused by my dad, I knew I could do it. I knew it. Because getting through that was hell. You've probably been through the same as me. If you've been abused by your dad or your mum, or you've been in an abusive relationship, or you're terrified of the person, they're bullying you. If you can get through that, making money, attracting women, it's fucking easy. In comparison, it's easy. Because the pain that you went through is not going to be anything close to the pain that you're going to have to go to attract a woman. Or if not the same, or make money, or develop yourself as a person, improve yourself. So this is really what people are frightened of. People are frightened of being successful and dealing with the responsibility, and they're frightened of killing their old self. Because there was a part of me that despised my old self, hated myself, but I got used to being like that. So there was some tiny enjoyment there, which according to Eckhart Tolle, and I comprehend with this, the false ego enjoys being a victim, it enjoys saying it's been abused, it enjoys being hated, because it feeds off that. So there was some kind of pleasure, which can probably sound masochistic or sadistic, whatever is the right word. So I had to do away with that and be this guy, and be confident, successful. So you can do the same if you're willing to go for it and face the monster, which is a story in your head. But contradictory to what I said, sometimes the story in our head is the story outside. So we have to face outside. There's certain things that I just intuitively know that you have to do to overcome your social anxiety on the outside world to start clearing up the story inside. And then you can do it backwards. You can go inside and get in and talk to the story, change the inside, to make the outside look better. So it's an inside and outside job. So I was frightened of my inner story. I wasn't frightened of my dad really, I wasn't frightened of people and money and women. I was frightened of the story in me, the story that was from a full self. That's it. That's the secret. That's how I overcome it. That's how I become successful. I hope that helps you.